Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on Saturday, November 18th, 2017, on the Premiere Network. More than 200 fabulous stations all over the country. But guess what? You can listen to it right now. This is episode 1440 on your phone or your podcast device. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Home plays a big role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully so you can be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/techguy. And by Texture. Access the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere using your smartphone or tablet. Try it free for 14 days at texture.com/twit. I'll be with you in a minute because I'm pairing my coffee mug to my phone via Bluetooth. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. This is where tech goes too far, I think. This is the show where we talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got smartphones. We got smartwatches. We got coffee mugs that pair via Bluetooth to your phone so that you can then, turn them up? Make sure your mug is in pair mode. Oh, I got to turn it off and then turn it on. And that's ridiculous. 8888 Ask Leo. Anything with a chip in it. Even, yes, a coffee mug that you have to pair to your phone so you can heat it up. You know, one little tip I might give you guys, don't fill it with coffee before you try to pair it because the button is on the bottom of the mug. So it's quite the balancing act. But the coffee is delicious. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. We have to review, I have to review a lot of silly things, but also some fun things. Sometimes reviewers get it wrong. I get it wrong. Everybody gets it wrong from time to time, but I'm really kind of amazed at how wrong the reviewers got it on the new Google phone, the Pixel phone. Because I've been using, I got my Pixel phone more than a week ago, my Pixel 2 XL. That's the one everybody was saying, oh, the screen is terrible. And then the Pixel headphones that are designed to go with it came out, and I got mine yesterday. And, oh, man, did I see bad reviews for these headphones. Man, these are terrible. So, but I like to start with an open mind, partly because I buy these with my own money. I think that's one thing that I know most reviewers, you know, they're not going. Their bosses aren't going to pay for them to buy the stuff. Not when the companies will give it to you for free. But that's a problem in a couple of ways. One, you often get pre-production devices because the companies want the review to come out, you know, a day or two before the device comes out. Device comes out on a Friday, as this phone did. The reviews will come out on a Wednesday. Same thing with the iPhone 10, right? In fact, Apple really manipulated the game when the iPhone 10 came out. They gave one reviewer, they gave, I think, 2 or 3, maybe 4 reviewers phones a week ahead of time. Only 4. They gave one reviewer the right to publish his review a day earlier than all the rest. That's a big reward, by the way. That's millions of hits on his article, Stephen Levy in Wired Magazine, that the others, you know, will be playing catch-up on. So that's like giving you money, frankly. That's better than money. And you know, most reviewers, including Stephen, who I know and is a talented guy, has been around for a long time, have rules of conduct that prohibit them from accepting free stuff from the companies they're reviewing. That's how it should be, right? And you know, I went through the ethics training that the radio station has me go through every year, and that's one of the things. It says it could be cash, it could be a dinner, it could be a trip, it could be a variety. It doesn't have to be money. What's a better reward than giving a reviewer a day advance of everybody else to review it? Then and then of course, if it's the hot phone like the iPhone 10, then the reviewers have You know, 4 magic reviewers have a week. The rest, and I don't include myself because I don't do this, got a day and had to publish their review. If they wanted to be competitive after one day, you can't do a good review of a phone, especially a phone this complicated and different. You know, the iPhone X was very new. They only had a day to play with it. And Apple, I think that's a manipulation, a clever manipulation, because what can a reviewer focus on in 24 hours? Well, the new stuff. You know, the new user interface, the screen. They focused on the good stuff. They didn't have time to say, well, is the battery life any good? Well, I can't tell in a day. Does the screen have burn-in or other problems? Well, you won't know for weeks. So that's I think that's a disservice that companies do to us, the buyers, by manipulating the reviewers. Same thing happened with the Pixel Buds. People, these blogs, these tech blogs, are in such a tight competition to be the first to review something that, you know, they all got their Pixel Buds in the last few days. They all had reviews up in a few days. And as a result, some silly things got through. And I'm sure Google's not too happy about it. One thing that got through is, oh, these are so hard to pair. See, the idea of the Pixel Buds, these are kind of like Google's version of the Apple's AirPods. They're Bluetooth headphones. They're a little different because they have a wire connecting them, which actually I don't mind. But they do many of the same things the AirPods do. First of all, they pair wirelessly. And now with these phones that don't have headphone jacks, come on, guys. You can't, you know, you can't have wired headphones, so they have to be Bluetooth. They also, you know, allow you to use Google Assistant. In fact, it's kind of cool if you've paired it to, I'm not sure, not all phones do this. For sure, the Google Pixels do it, the new Pixel 2s. If you pair it to the Google Assistant, then when a notification comes in, you can tap your right ear, and it'll tell you in your ear, oh, you just got a text from, well, it doesn't sound like that. You just got a text from your wife. Would you like me to read it? And you tap it again. It's, okay, and it reads it to you. If you'd like to reply, press and hold and dictate it to me. And that is really, I think that's really cool. You know, we're getting closer to that. Did you ever see the movie with Joaquin Phoenix? It was Her, right? Scarlett Johansson is a little artificial intelligence in his ear that he's talking to and falls in love with eventually. I won't tell you how it ends. But as with most love affairs, it's heartbreaking at the end. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got distracted. So these headphones are kind of, you know, more than just music phones. These are sort of an interface, just as Apple's AirPods are, an interface to the smartphone that I find very intriguing. I feel because we have all these speech assistants these days, this is the next step, right? Is of wearables, is you'll have something in your ear that can talk to you. But people, the reviewers who got it and only had it for a day, had all sorts of troubles with pairing it. Because they didn't read the manual, I think. Because it almost bit me, because the deal is you have to charge these first to pair them. Well, duh. The case, like the AirPods, the case is a battery. When they put the earbuds in the case, they charge. And if you keep the case charged, you get 5 hours of battery life on the earbuds, but the case will have another 24 hours. So, you know, when you're done wearing it, you put it in the case and they charge. That's convenient. It's kind of a funny little fabric case, but that's the new thing Google's doing. People didn't like the aesthetics of the case. Well, that's all right. But they complained about pairing. And I know why. Because, and it says this, but maybe it doesn't should say it in big letters. The earbuds inside are covered with a little plastic tape on the charging coils. They're not charged. So you can't pair something that's not charged yet. And it says, remove the tape before charging. But it says it in little letters. And I know exactly what happened. These people, they only have a day. They pulled them, quick, charge, pair it. And it wouldn't pair. And they went crazy. And they called Google. And Google said, blah, blah, blah. All you got, it worked for me just fine, which is you take the little tape off the, if you read the instructions, you figure this out. Oh, it wasn't maybe as explicit as it should be, but you take the tape off, you put them back in, then you charge them up for 10 minutes. It says 10 minutes, so that it has enough charge to pair. And then it just works exactly as the manual said. But everybody wrote reviews, said, oh, it's impossible, it doesn't work. I don't think they read the instructions because they had to review this in 24 hours. I'll tell you, I read so many negative reviews of this before I got them. I got them yesterday. I thought, well, I'm going to hate these things. And it turns out the sound quality is superb. The pairing is great. It does exactly what they're supposed to. I'm not going to review it today. I'll review it next week. Give me a little more time to play with it. But the thing, it happened really, and the same thing happened with the poor Pixel 2 screen. Google's just put out a patch that lets you turn up the color saturation. See, it turns out Samsung and Apple's panels, the color saturation is exaggerated. Now it looks exactly like them. No burn-in, bright colors. Oh! Just drives me nuts. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let's take some calls. Drives me nuts. Yeah. So this is so Google's added this new switch. They pushed an update, and they've added in the display thing. This is, I think, mostly what the update was: the ability to choose whether you want boosted, natural, or saturated. When you go to natural, I think that's how the Google phone shipped. The colors seem kind of faded. It's kind of a faded phone. It's kind of, you know, I was looking at it and saying, boy, that looks terrible. Well, that's only compared to the saturated colors of the iPhone OLED and mostly of the Samsung OLED. In fact, I'll show you just so you can see when you compare the two, which colors look better, right? That the iPhone pops out at you, right? I would probably say that the red is more natural in the Pixel, but it doesn't pop. See how dark it is compared to that's the same icon, the red on the left, popping out at you? Well, all you do is you do what everybody else does because it makes everybody happier. And Scott Wilkinson talks about this all the time. You turn on saturated. Oh, so the colors are richer, more vibrant, and less natural. And now which one pops, huh? That looks more like the Samsung color. Let's see what I could do. I could do the other one. Let's see these are new. I think that before it had boosted before. Let's see what boosted looks like. Oh, look how rich and red that is. But you get your choice now. I wish what I'd really like is for Google to put in a slider. You know, like on Lightroom. So I could say, well, but I'm going to stick with saturated because that looks exactly, to me, it looks exactly like Samsung phones. And then this panel is fine. It's a perfectly good panel. I quite like how it looks, actually. And by the way, no burning. No burn-in at all. So this is the problem with people who are reviewing these phones so quickly. You got to... So I buy everything, as you know. And I don't talk to PR people. I just have the experience you would have. And I think it looks pretty good. I like mine took a while to come because I got the panda color. And in a way, I'm kind of glad because whatever issues they were having with the early Pixel 2 XLs, these look great. This looks great. The screen is fabulous. Let's put a white screen on. So now you're going to... Oh, I want it to stay white a little bit. Let's see. There we go. So one thing people complain about with OLED screens is as you tilt them, you see how it's getting a little bit blue? Once it's at an angle, it's bluer. This is a white page. It's bluer. See that? But to a greater or lesser degree, all OLED screens do that. That's what the off-axis looks like. Remember the old LCDs where if you tilted the screen like this, you couldn't see it at all? At least these have wide viewing angles now. There's a color shift, a blue color shift. That's in effect dimming it. That's not bad. The problem is, and exactly what you're saying, Calgary Guru, in the chat room, it's too late. So now, and that's why I feel sad. This is a very nice phone. It's expensive, but it's a very nice phone. But ask somebody about the Pixel 2 XL. Oh, no, I'm not going to get that. That one has terrible burn-in. Or you ask them about the Essential phone. Oh, I'm not going to get that. That phone has, bad camera. Crap. These things have been fixed. In fact, the Essential phone is a fabulous phone. I feel bad for these guys. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. Better reviewers. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. I think this is your song, Kim Schaffer.
Rocking me all night
Rocking
long.
all night long. Did you stay up all night answering the phones?
No. No, I did not.
Come in last night at 5 o'clock, just getting those phone callers ready.
It was my happy hour.
Yeah.
I just decided to come and
Just
talk
come and
to people all night
talk
long.
to people all night long.
Like an old nighttime DJ.
You know, that's kind of, I always wanted to do the late night, nonstop, all night truck driving show.
That's where I wanted to get my start, but by the time I got into this business, there was no overnights anymore.
Nobody does it.
It was all automated.
It's all automated. Nobody does it anymore. Well, you and I, let's pretend the sun's gone down. It's about 11 p.m.
Do I have to put on
night.
a sexy voice?
Yeah, you got to be. What do they call the night owl? The ladybird.
Well, there was Between the Sheets. That was one
Not
of them.
that show. We're not going to do that show unless you have an iPhone between those sheets. Actually, a lot of people do. How many people, show of hands, go to bed with their smartphone? Yeah.
Mine's right next to my head. I know.
Yep.
It's probably causing
Yep.
radiation. It
Yep.
explains a lot.
My wife says, "Are you looking at your girlfriend again?" I said, "Yes, my precious."
It's just charging there, and it's my alarm. So it may
Yeah,
as well be
sure. But you wake up in the middle of the night. My problem is with this new iPhone. This iPhone 10 I went so crazy about that I didn't get much sleep for the last week and a half. I wake up in the middle of the night, like, let me play with my precious.
They too tend to grab you.
Oh, my precious. Yeah, after a while, you run out of things to do. I had taken off all the fun stuff because I didn't want to wake up in the middle of the night, so I didn't have Facebook or Twitter or
I didn't want
Instagram
to chat
on there.
with people in the middle of the night.
Yeah, so I put it back on because I had to have something to do in the middle of the night. Playing with my precious. So, Kim, who should I start with? Because I see we do have...
I know how you love spending people's money.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek in Moreno Valley is looking at a new 65-inch OLED.
Oh.
Which this might actually be a nice question when Scott comes on as well. But,
well, he's going to be on in about 10
He might
minutes.
be able to put his input in.
Yeah.
But
well, I think I can channel Scott, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll after many years. Yeah. Thanks, Kim. Hi, Derek. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Welcome.
How you doing, Leo? Thanks for taking my call.
Listen to that voice. That is, man, that's beautiful. You got a nice voice. Do you work in the biz?
You, sir. No, I don't. I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah, with a beautiful voice, baby. You should think about it. What can I do for you, Derek?
Well, Leo, I am upgrading my plasma. I've had it almost 10 years.
Oh, isn't that sad?
Love my plasma.
I know.
But here's the deal. I've, to make things kind of short here, basically, I'm in the sea. I've been reading.
I know.
I've been watching.
I know.
You know, and there's a lot, I go into the stores and I talk with the salesman and everything is just coming at me all at once.
Well, you know what really drives me crazy, and I think this is going to be a problem come the big screen TVs sell best in January, right before the Super Bowl. Don't know why, but they do. And what's going to happen is people are going to run into the store. They're not going to have done the research you did, Derek, and they're going to say, "Oh, there's that QLED screen from Samsung. I've heard that OLEDs are really good," and they're going to buy it, and they're going to be very disappointed because it's not an OLED. It's an LCD screen. The Q looks just like an O with a little tiny mark. And it's like Samsung's trying to fool people. It drives me nuts. So what has your research told you? You have, with the plasma, what for years we said is the best possible HD TV.
Yeah. Well, I got a Panasonic Viera.
That's
42.
Beautiful. It's sitting in my living room right now. I don't want to give it up ever.
Yeah.
Because they don't make them. Nobody makes plasma. Plasma's dead.
Right. Right.
So you want to replace it with something as good?
I want to replace it with something as good, and I'm going OLED.
Yes.
But I wanted to hopefully get your opinion as far as pointing me to true north, because I've read a lot about Sony. I've read a lot about LG. I walk into Best Buy, and, I'm just, spinning with all kinds of data. So I was hoping you could help me figure this all out.
Well, I can just make it. I'll tell you what because I did the same thing because I wanted to get a new TV for my den, I wanted to get 4K HDR because that's the new format, right? Eventually, we're going to see. I mean, I watched last night Atomic Blonde, and Lisa and I were starting to watch it on the plasma in the living room. I said, honey, we got to go to the den because that's where the 4K HDR is, and it does look so much better. So let me point you to something that happens every year, which is called the 2017 Value Electronics TV Shootout. And this is where they take some experts, they get them all together, and actually they've renamed it because it used to be Value Electronics at Long Island retailer, and now I think it's been kind of taken over. But the winner, and for the last few years running, and the one I ended up buying is the LG.
Okay, did you do the E7?
The E7's the top of the line, but here's the secret Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru, told me. All three LG models, including the less expensive B series, have the same screen. The difference is in the extras, like the smart TV features and curved screen and stuff like that. So I opted to get, the E7 won. That's what the experts agreed is the king of TV, the best HD TV out there. But you can get the B and save $1,000 and get the same screen. You'll just be losing some of the features that I don't really care about, extra, features. So have you looked at the LG?
I have. I looked at them side by side, but I'm still in the valley. I mean,
it's hard in the showroom because they're not setting it the same way you would at home.
Right, but is it true that even though Sony has their TV, LG built it?
That I don't know. And even if that's the case, they would have built it to Sony's specs, which would be different from their TV. So that probably is the case. There's only two companies that I know of, anyway, big ones that build OLED screens, Samsung and LG. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Sony got it from one of the two.
Okay.
So it's probably the same panel. Is the Sony much cheaper?
The Sony and the LG, I believe, are right around the same cost.
Yeah.
They're both, I don't know if you want me to put this out on the air.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. Sure.
I think they're both about 4K.
Yeah.
Like the TV, 4K.
$4,000 instead of 4K pixels. Yeah.
Right.
So even though, see, the problem is we don't, just as, Samsung built the iPhone X's panel, but to Apple's spec, I don't know how LG might have, changed the spec for Sony. I would get the LG. It's the one I got for that reason. But I'll tell you what, keep listening because Scott Wilkinson's coming up. He's our home theater guru. In fact, if you don't mind, I'm going to keep you on the line and you could talk to Scott directly. Because the other thing, of course, is the processing. What the DSP, the microchips inside the TV are doing. And that might make a difference, too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The TV shootout, Panasonic won. But I think Sony came in a very close, I don't think there was too much of a difference between LG and... but let's get Scott on the line here, Derek. And oh, Scott, where are you? You're using iPhone stage lighting, I think.
I'm in one of our favorite places, yours and mine both, Santa Cruz, California.
That's where I went to high school. Yeah. So don't tip your hand here. Don't answer Derek now. But you heard the call.
Okay, I did.
Okay. So Derek, you're in luck.
I can definitely talk about it.
You're going to get the expert here. Okay.
Oh wow, this is great.
Well, we're going to keep Derek on the line because guess who's here? The guru of all that is home theater, editor over at the AVS Forum, our home theater geek, Scott Wilkinson. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo.
And so you heard Derek's question. I
sure did.
He's replacing his Panasonic Viera plasma, which was, of course,
such a nice plasma,
the best TV for many years.
Yep.
At the Value Electronics TV shootout. That's no longer Value Electronics. It's now the CE Week or something like that.
Yeah, they've changed their affiliation slightly, but it's still. And they did something new this year as well. They, instead of having just everybody in the audience vote, they had professional colorists vote.
So they're rating it on accuracy of color, mostly, or
well, variety, color and brightness and contrast and all the normal things that you would rate a TV on.
Right.
But they are trained with they are trained to see things that normal consumers might not see. But the result was the same. LG OLED won.
Now, you heard,
as it has for the last several years.
You heard Derek's question, which was, is the Sony using the LG panel?
Yes, absolutely.
And it is.
It is. The difference between the Sony and the LG is in the processing, and you referenced that. You referred to that.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your, or somewhere in your talking with that guy. The processing is different, and I generally think the Sony processing is better, but for typically $1,000 more, is it worth $1,000 more? That each person needs to decision they need to make for themselves. In most cases, I would think it probably isn't worth $1,000 more, even though it is better. And I actually bought my Sony OLED because
you bought Sony.
I did.
Derek, I gave you the wrong steer.
Well, it's only it's really, to tell you the truth, it's mostly because I was reviewing it and it's already in my studio and it's really, really good. And I said, okay, I'll just go ahead and buy it.
Right.
I would have no trouble buying the LG.
Because that's what I got.
Yeah. No, I would have no trouble at all buying the LG.
Okay.
And in fact, LG is offering some pretty killer Black Friday deals.
Oh, so you waited to the right time, Derek.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
LG themselves sent out a press release saying that at authorized LG authorized dealers, of which there are several, they're selling the 55-inch B7, and you were exactly right about the B7 being the sort of entry level, but they all use the same panel. Every single LG OLED uses the same panel, and the only difference is, as you said, was the feature set. None of them are curved; they're all flat. But there are other, features, and the industrial design, how the case looks.
That's what I meant, not curved, but just what the case looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares? I don't care.
You could save $1,000 by getting the B instead of the E. Yeah.
Well, and dig this, at LG's pricing, they said that for Black Friday they're selling the 55-inch B7 for $14.99.
Whoa, Derek, $14.99. That's less than half what you were quoting. And by the way, Derek said one thing that concerned me a little bit. Your Viera's 47 inches. If you're getting a 4K,
it's 42.
You're going to want to get bigger than that if you can.
Yes.
If you
can you fit a 55-inch where you want the TV to go?
I was actually planning on a 65.
Yes, good man.
Even better. Even better.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well,
even if you're only sitting 8 feet away, you know, that's what I have. We sit 8 feet away from a 65-inch, and that's a really nice movie quality experience, I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Now the 65-inch B7 is also on sale for Black Friday for $22.99.
Still
down from
$32.99.
That's $1,000 off.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that sounds like where you should go.
That's excellent. Now, Scott, can I ask you, for my PS4 and my DirecTV box, is there, and plus I have an Alexa, can I do any tricks and treats with these, or is the LG going to be fine to match with all of them?
You're going to want to get, it'll work, but you're going to want to get, I'll answer this one for you, Scott, since
Sure.
You're in what we call the upgrade cascade. Because as soon as you get a 4K TV, all of a sudden you got to upgrade all the other stuff to support 4K if you want to watch 4K video. And that is one thing you might consider, is that if you're watching HD video on some of these devices and the TV upscales it to 4K, it's not going to look that great. We saw this with HD from SD. I mean, it's okay, but the better would be, and to get. And it starts with this is what happened to me, a 4K receiver then a 4K Roku, and then a 4K Chromecast, and then a 4K. Finally, Apple TV came out with 4K. 4K Xbox, which is the One S or the new One X, or the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is 4K.
Oh, wow.
But then, oh, by the way, if you have the PlayStation, you don't have a UHD Blu-ray player. You only have a regular. So you need to go out and get a UHD 4K HDR Blu-ray player.
Oh, wow.
I know. Black Friday's...
I mean, no, you can add that stuff in later. You don't have to get it all at once.
Yeah, yeah. But so it will all work, and it'll look good, right, Scott?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The LG, the B765 for $22.99, $2,300 is like, wow.
Okay,
that's just
but one more
a killer deal.
If he's getting, so we know he's upscaling from HD content. Would the Sony be better at that?
Yes, it would. But I don't know that the Sony is on sale for Black Friday. I looked around a lot of Black Friday ads, and I did not see the Sony OLED in any of them. Doesn't mean it wasn't there or that it's not on sale for Black Friday. I just couldn't find it.
Yeah. Sony often doesn't do big discounts. I know
that's true. They don't
like to do that.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Although the Sony X900E LCD TV, I did find on the order of 28 to 30% off. Now that's an LCD TV; it's not an OLED. And if you're looking to get an OLED, that's the right thing to do, in my opinion. Let's
tell Derek, get the B.
Yep.
The B7, B6. B7. I have the B6 because I bought it a year ago.
Correct. It was a year earlier.
What other? We got a minute and a half, so I want to get, because I know you wanted to talk Black Friday deals.
Yes. Let's see. This
is a good time to shop the day after Thanksgiving, right? This Friday. Yeah.
I found some great AVRs at Best Buy. Pioneer Elite has the VSX LX102, which is 7.2 channels, Atmos, Dolby Vision compatible, $350, 30% off.
Nice.
So that's pretty nice. Let's see. Klipsch always has lots of speakers on sale, so that's always good. Blu-ray players, I found the Sony UBP X800 for $150. That's half off. That's a Sony at Best Buy. Streaming. I wanted to also mention Sony has the PlayStation 4 on sale for $200.
Oh.
Now that's the
old one, because they not the Pro.
PlayStation 4. It's not the Pro. No.
So that's the new one. Is the Pro?
Yeah.
See.
Yeah. You're right. They're also selling the PlayStation VR bundle, which is the PlayStation 4 with the headset.
That's kind of cool.
Well, yeah.
How much is that?
$300 off from $450.
That's a pretty good deal. Yeah,
33% off. So that's pretty good at various retailers.
Scott, we're out of time. You could find more though at avsforum.com. I'm sure you'll have a big Black Friday listing there. Yeah, Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. Derek, go shopping. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls right after this. All right, Derek. I think we just confused you more than...
I don't know. It's like, go buy the 65B7. You will not be unhappy.
That's such a massive upgrade to a 42-inch Viera. You're just going to love that.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's what I'm hoping.
And you'll have the capability. I mean, I guess if you had to pick one thing, I would look at, and they're under $100. I bet you can find a Black Friday sale on the UHD Blu-ray player, right?
Oh yeah. Let's see. I've got a few here. Let's see. I think the Sony UBP X800 for $150.
Okay.
Probably the best deal I saw.
Then that means you got to start buying discs. The UHD discs. But those are going to look the best.
One second. Slow down. You said UBV.
UBP.
UBP
player. Yeah.
Okay.
So Ultra HD Blu-ray B.
And is that
player.
A Best Buy deal or a Walmart deal? Where's that?
That's a Best Buy.
Best Buy. Okay. And you can do that online too, Derek. You don't have to go into Best Buy.
You can.
Got it.
Let's see.
And then the next step would be probably to get a 4K Roku Ultra, because then you can stream 4K UHD from Netflix, from Vudu. You can rent movies from Vudu, so you can get these high quality streaming. We watched the Atomic Blonde on the 4K Apple TV.
Oh man!
And that looked really nice, I thought.
Yeah, it's one of the really good UHD Blu-rays.
But it'd be better to buy the Exactly. In fact, I rented it instead of bought it because the Blu-ray is always going to look better because they don't have to compress it as much for streaming.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Now, interestingly, the Roku Streaming Stick Plus, which is 4K UHD and HDR, is at Walmart for $48.
Oh man! Oh, you have to do that. In fact, I would do that before you got the Blu-ray player. Yeah,
it's a real steal. That's 30% off from 69.
You need to have Wi-Fi download capability of what Scott, 15 or 25?
25 megabits.
25 megabits.
I would say.
Okay.
And otherwise you won't. Good. Otherwise you won't get the quality on the stream.
Exactly.
Okay. This is called the Roku Streaming
Stick Plus.
Stick Plus.
Stick Plus.
The plus is the 4K part.
Yeah, and it's a little it's a little dongle like thing. It's like a USB.
It plugs into your HDMI port.
But it's HDMI. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a service I need to also pay for?
Well, you can decide what you want to pay for. You can get Vudu, VUDU, for free and then only rent movies. So you pay for them per movie. Or you can pay, I think it's 10 or $11 for the UHD version of Netflix.
It's 11, maybe 12 now, $11.99.
Yeah, they raised it $1.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's worth it though, because they have a lot. You know, all their new TV shows are shot in UHD, HDR.
Correct. Certainly all of Netflix's.
Yeah. Hey, Derek, nice to talk to you. Go shopping.
No doubt. Thank you, Leo.
My pleasure.
And I'm on my way.
All right, dude.
All right.
Have fun.
Happy shopping.
And then get a job in radio because you got a great voice. Actually, you do too, Scott.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like a kid, a teenager here. Scott, we only have 35 seconds, but would you like to stick around to the top of the hour?
Yeah. Happy to.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Somebody in the chat room. Thank you, Shy Guy 14. Great handle. He's in our chat room. We have a great chat room going on all the time in the background, I should mention, at irc.twit.tv. irc.twit.tv. You can use your browser. Bunch of nice people in there. It's family friendly because we have it heavily moderated. Scott's in there right now. In fact, if you want to ask questions of Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guy. But Shy Guy said, thank you for the interview of Andy Weir. I did want to plug that a little bit. We did that on a podcast. I do a bunch of podcasts during the week because, idle hands make the world go round or something. The show is called Triangulation for historic reasons nobody really understands, because it's just me and an author. In this case, the author of The Martian. I don't know if you saw the movie or read the book, Andy Weir. What a great book. And it made a fabulous movie with Matt Damon, stranded on Mars, the whole story. If you've not seen the movie, Academy Award nominated. It just was really great. But he's got a new book about a moon colony called Artemis that I really enjoyed, and I got to talk to Andy Weir. We actually had to do the interview in August because the book came out this week. And Andy said, look, I can only talk to you in August, but you have to hold the interview till now. So we did. And the podcast came out yesterday. But if you want to listen to it, it is on our website, twit.tv/TRI. I'll put that in the show notes, so you can click on that link. He's a fun guy, Andy Weir, and his new book, which I have read, is great, and also already optioned to be a major motion picture. So that should be. I'll look forward to that next Oscar season. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. That's the number. Ellie called, our good friend from Hawaii.
Hi, haven't talked to you in a while.
It's been an age. I thought, what happened to Ellie?
No, I'm still floating around.
She does a great website for...
I don't have it anymore, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Because I was ill. So I stopped.
Never mind. Isn't it still there, though?
It's still there, but it hasn't updated in ages. But
you still, I think the stuff it's visiting Hawaii for people with disabilities.
Right.
I think it's still valuable. It's not stuff hasn't changed, has it?
No, not really.
Well, give it a plug then.
No.
Okay, all right, your choice. So many people. It's funny, Ellie, because I appreciate that. So many people call the show, and really they don't have a question. They just want to plug their thing.
Right.
So I love it when you say no, don't want to plug it. That's okay.
No.
What can I do for you?
I have a Google Home Mini.
Oh, you got the little donut.
Yes.
I want the pink one because it looks just like a pink donut.
Well, I like the chalk one. I don't like stuff that look girly. So
well, there you go. This I do. Go figure. So it's that everything Google's making now is covered with this fabric, but it's a Google Assistant. It's the Google Home, so you can talk to it just as you would the Assistant on your phone. Or so.
Right.
So now you've had an Amazon Echo before this, right?
Right, I still do.
Okay, so compare the two for me.
Well, I think the Amazon does a lot more because it's older,
Yeah, it's 2 years older, yeah.
Right, and this one's still learning.
Yeah.
But I think in time it might be better, but
I think Google Google is, of course, going to have the upper hand in artificial intelligence because they're the kings of this. So it should get smarter. Where Amazon has a huge advantage is you can shop at Amazon with it, which I love. I do all the time.
But you can't go anywhere else.
But you can only go to Amazon. Google has Walmart and Target and other places to shop at.
Right. And if you link up your Google Home with Walmart, you get $25 off your purchase when you shop.
I suspect Google is going to compete hard on this, right?
Yep.
That this is a space they want to be in. So it would be my guess that they will provide a fairly good challenge to Amazon. It's hard to say who the winner is going to be. Unfortunately, Apple was going to do a Siri device similar to these called the HomePod. It won't be out till next. They delayed it till next year.
Yeah. Well, my birthday's in March, so I go.
Oh, good. You're going to have all three. But we should mention Ellie's blind. So I think that for a blind person, these speech assistants must be fantastic.
I don't know about that.
Oh.
I mean, remember, I'm partially sighted, too. So
you could see enough to look at your computer screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. In fact, I'm getting an iPhone 10, so.
I think you'll like it.
I'm afraid so.
Oh, it's pretty.
But before you run out of time, I want you to answer my question.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
How do I link my contacts with my Google Home? My partner, my best friend and all, he could get his contacts in there, but when I go to do mine, it doesn't seem to accept it.
Well, of course,
you know how you ask for a phone number and all that?
Have to. There's two prerequisites for this. One is you have to have that Google device attached to your Google account, is it?
Yes.
And then, two, you have to store your contacts with Google Contacts. You're not, now there's one issue sometimes people run into, which is if you're using the paid Google apps, they call it the G Suite now, that is going to cause a problem. But you're not using G Suite, are you?
No, I'm not using that.
So and your contacts are in there?
They're there, but they don't.
If you go to contacts.google.com, do you see them?
I could see his contacts.
Oh.
My contacts.
You don't have the same Google account, do you?
No.
So you are on his Google account, not your Google account. If you see his contacts.
Right. But it recognizes if I want to take something from his account, like if I say, call Auntie so-and-so.
It recognizes that.
It won't do it, even from his account with my voice.
So you have to add yourself as a user to the Google Home. Make sure that you look at the Google Home app and make sure.
Right.
One of the things that's cool about the Google Home is, unlike the Amazon, although I bet you Amazon, they're in such tight competition. It's really fabulous because that means both get better because they're competing with one another. You can have multiple users with your Google Home. You can be, so if you share it, in theory, if you train it, it will understand that it's you, not him asking. Because
it knows the difference.
Yeah.
For sure.
So they updated this in April. the way you have to do this, you have to do it on your phone, okay? And you have to use a Google Home app. You have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. Log in on the Home app with your Google account, not his. Select your Google Home from the device, and then say, link your account. Now, he can do this for you by linking your account, or you can do it for him by linking his account. And then you'll see, multi-user is now available. You've trained it. So I'm thinking you must have done this, and then both contacts should be available. But for him to use his contacts, you'll have to use his voice. For you to use your contacts, you'll have to use your voice. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because it knows the difference.
Right. But you'll have notes in your show, right?
You know what I'm going to do is give you a link, because I'm looking at an article that Lifehacker published that we somebody put in the chat room that describes the process step by step.
Okay.
So it's what I just read, basically.
I tried to call them. They don't speak English very well, and I was more confused
that's a
when I hung up.
Google used to have very good call support, but it sounds, that's a shame, because they're trying to make this a success. They should have better support.
Yeah, well, it's in the Philippines. What can you do?
Yeah. That's too bad. Google, come on, get your act together. I guess because they're selling this so inexpensively. And by the way, the prices on this for Black Friday, I think, are going to be down to, I don't know, like $20. It's going to be very inexpensive. So I think it's $30 and you get a $10 coupon, something like that. So
where do I go to get that? I want to get one for Christmas.
I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I think probably store.google.com. Their online store. Ellie, wonderful to reconnect. We missed you, but I'm glad to hear from you. I hope you're feeling better now.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll put Google's official page, support.google.com, their official page on how to add users, set up multiple users on Google Home. I haven't done that yet, actually. The issue would be with that is, of course, you won't be able to use your voice to call his people unless you share that account. You could just, I wonder if you can train it for voices and then share that account. If you know, call me, 8888 Ask Leo. And as I said, we'll put links to the 2 articles, as we do with everything on this show, on our website, techguylabs.com. It's free. There's no sign up. techguylabs.com. Let's take a break. News at the top of the hour. More of your calls coming up. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
So, we've been talking about OLEDs and Black Friday deals. Some people have been asking me about Samsung, and I did see an awful lot of Samsung TVs on sale for Black Friday, mostly the MU series, which is a step down, pardon me, from the QLED. And
I'm pissed off at them because that Q looks so much like an O, and I really think they did that on purpose. The Q stands for quantum dots, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That is exactly correct. And they did do it on purpose. They did it specifically to compete with OLED because it looks an awful lot like OLED, except for that one little thing in the Q. You're exactly right. So and I have to say, I mean, the Q9 is a good TV. It's their top of the line. The Q7, which is 2 steps down, I think is not that great. And so the MUs, which are a step below that, I think from what I've seen, I've not been impressed.
Scott, do you want me to put the chat room up? Are you able to see the chat room there?
I am able to see the chat room.
Oh, okay, because I
can see the chat room.
All right, continue on. I won't interrupt.
Thank you. So anyway, I didn't spend a lot of time looking at Samsung TV sales for that reason, because I'm not that impressed. That's all I can say about that. Sorry, folks. I do want to mention that on AVS Forum, I have just completed a project whereby I posted lists of our favorite products, the best products of 2017 in a variety of categories: TVs, speakers, headphones, that sort of thing. And also UHD Blu-rays, the actual Blu-ray discs, that we've reviewed over the past year. So I do hope that you will go check that out for finding what we found to be the best products of 2017 so far. And we'll add to those lists too. because 2017 isn't quite over yet. Not yet, but soon to be. Lawn Dog is asking, can you take a minute and explain your opinion on Dolby Vision on a 4K TV isn't worth the added cost? Well, I think it is. I think Dolby Vision is very good. I think it's better than HDR10, although some people will argue that the difference is minimal. And depending on how they did the content, there's a lot of reasons to think that might be true, but it's also possible for it to be quite a bit better. And there are more streaming providers that are providing content in Dolby Vision as opposed to HDR10. It's actually both. Dolby Vision typically is what's called a dual layer format. So you have what's called a base layer, and then you have the extension layer or the enhancement layer. And the base layer can be standard dynamic range, or it can be HDR10. And in the case of streaming services that give you a Dolby Vision option, the base layer is probably HDR10. So if your TV doesn't do Dolby Vision, it'll revert back to HDR10, and it'll still look really good. But I think Dolby Vision looks better. And if you have a TV with Dolby Vision capabilities, you're going to have the best of all worlds. If you get at Dolby Vision content, you'll be able to see it in Dolby Vision. If you get HDR10 content, you'll see it in that. So I'm a big advocate. Certainly in the commercial cinema, that's really the only theater I'll go to anymore is a Dolby Cinema, because it has Dolby Vision high dynamic range, and it looks better than any other commercial presentation I've ever seen, including IMAX. So, Lawn Dog, that is sort of how I feel about that. We were talking about also the TCL P607. Which is a phenomenally good TV for the money. Not the absolute best TV you can buy, but I think someone here talked about the 65-inch being like $650, which is quite remarkable. I didn't see any, pardon me, I didn't see any TCL TVs in the black market. I mean, the Black Friday ads that I saw, but they're already so inexpensive that putting them on sale hardly seems worth it. They won't be that much less because they're already so inexpensive. So that's kind of how I feel about that. We were talking about OLEDs as well, and I did buy the Sony, and I really like the TV speaker. Some people in the chat room are asking about the Sony TV speaker being the actual screen itself. And isn't that weird? Isn't that a problem? No. I thought so too at first when I heard about it. But I've since experienced it, and it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. If you don't have an external sound system, which is still going to sound better than even that, but this what they call the acoustic surface, which is the entire screen vibrating in the higher frequencies anyway, not the low frequencies, it's a lot better sounding than the onboard sound you get from just about any other TV. So it's remarkable, but it actually works, and it's really good. Let's see. Yeah, Magpie found the 55 P607, the TCL, for $650. Best Buy is selling it without voice search, headphone remote jack, and IR remote for $50 less. Well, I would want the IR remote. Even if you have a universal remote like a Logitech Harmony, which I do recommend, I always keep the original remote handy because there are certain functions that the universal remote won't get to, like some things in the menu perhaps, or certain things that I just prefer having the original remote around for that. UJ is asking, can I recommend any specific UHD, HDR Amazon Prime content to view on the 2016 60-inch Vizio M60? Not any specific content per se. Just look for UHD, HDR titles. And I think Amazon Prime does offer Dolby Vision, and the 2016 Vizio M60 does do Dolby Vision. So I would I don't have any particular titles to recommend, but go find any one that has content that you like, I should say, and it will actually, I'm sure, be quite good. Twisted Mister says, store the OEM remote, the original remote, without batteries, or it won't be there when you need it. Good point. Exactly right. That's happened to me a number of times, where you keep the batteries in there, and a year later they've leaked this weird crusty stuff inside the battery compartment, and then the thing won't work at all. So absolutely right. Very good. Mars Worm, is there a Dolby Vision add-on processing unit I can get for my non-Dolby Vision TV? No. The answer is no. The TV itself needs to understand Dolby Vision in order to display the content as Dolby Vision intends. And the real advantage of Dolby Vision is what's... Oh, and we're out of time.
Scott,
so
have a great time in Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz. Thank you so much.
See you later.
See you next week.
Bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about, all that stuff with chips in it, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, smart coffee cups. Found. It says it found it. Pair it and connect it. I've got this. This is from a company called Ember. It's actually a good idea. It's a coffee cup. This is a nice ceramic coffee cup. And then it comes with a coaster, a saucer that plugs in. The saucer has little pins on it. You put the mug on the saucer, and it heats it up. And if you just use it, it keeps the coffee at 130 degrees. So, I mean, if you don't like your coffee getting cold, that's nice. And then if you, here's the silly part, if you pair it with your smartphone, which I haven't been able to do very well, I don't know why, partly because I'm a lefty and the light is on the wrong side for me. But if you pair it with your smartphone, apparently you can control the temperature from the Ember app. A coffee cup with an app. What'll they think of next? Criminy. I'm having a heck of a time pairing it, though. Is this an Internet of Things device? I guess it doesn't go on the internet. Oh, God, I hope I can't control it via the internet. That would be terrible. That would be ridiculous. Somebody could boil my coffee. Let's prank Leo. Let's turn his heater off. But I think it's just Bluetooth. I hope it is. I hope it's not the internet. That would be crazy to put a coffee cup on the internet. Actually, the real risk of these Internet of Things devices, your cameras, your routers, anything that goes on the internet. I have an oven that goes on the internet, the June oven. I have a sous vide cooker. You know those slow cookers, the water bath cookers. I have something called the Mellow. I tweeted a picture of it this morning because I'm going to review it on next Saturday for the podcast. But I bought it. I bought it 2 years ago, and I finally got it. It's one of those Kickstarter things that takes forever. You don't know, am I going to lose my money? Am I going to get it ever? Finally got it, and that's kind of cool. So I have two steaks in there. That thing is on the internet. The steaks are being chilled right now, but it says, when do you want to eat? And I said, I'd like to eat at 6 p.m. And so an hour and a half before 6 p.m., 4:30 this afternoon, it will go from chilling the steaks to cooking them. And they'll be perfectly done by the time I get home. How about that? You know what? I think it's hundreds of dollars. It's a crazy idea. It is a complete waste. I'm embarrassed to say I have this thing, but this is my excuse. So I tell my wife, but honey, it's my job. It's my job. I have to review these things. So the best use of it, which is a completely trivial use, is for making soft-boiled eggs. Because when you go to bed, you just put 2 eggs in there, and then you say, I want soft-boiled eggs by 7:30 in the morning. And it chills them until like 6 a.m., and then it cooks them, and they're ready. And they're the best soft-boiled eggs I ever had. I know. I can use a pot with water. I know. And it'll be ready in 3 minutes. I know. But this is on the internet. This is on the internet. And I guess my point is that these devices, Okay, so it's on the internet. So somebody could cook my eggs hard cooked if they hacked it. That's not the threat. The threat is not that somebody's going to boil my coffee in my internet-connected coffee mug. That's not the threat. The threat is these become a gateway to your home. That once, and we've seen, believe me, this happens. We've seen people find flaws, lots of them, in a variety of these devices that are connected to the public internet. That means they're sitting there just waiting. In some cases, it's something as silly as they have a hardwired login and passphrase. So bad guy just looks for these cameras, for instance. This happened with camera. That's embarrassing. The cameras. In fact, there was a whole internet website with cameras you could just turn on in people's houses. Millions of them. You just because the password was hardwired. So you could just go see somebody's FOSS cam. Oh, let's see what they're up to. That's a problem. But again, that's not as bad as the larger problem, which is it's a gateway to get into your internet. And from there, get into your home network. And from there, try to hack all the devices in your house. And the one you really want to be careful about, the ones are your computers and your phones. Your phones have everything nowadays. If you think about it. This is, by the way, why law enforcement is so anxious to get Apple and Google to stop encrypting the contents of the phones. They'd love to be able to access this. Because if they've got a crook or a suspect, that phone has everything. They don't have to say, where were you on the night of August 17th? They just say, hey, phone, where was he? And the phone has, your phone has a complete GPS record of everywhere you've been. It has a microphone and a camera on it. They could turn it on. Watch what you're doing. They don't have to bug you. They just turn your phone's microphone on. And on and on and on. So this is why you kind of want to protect your internet. And you really should not buy Internet of Things devices, whether it's a sous vide cooker or a toaster oven or a camera or even a router from companies that you don't trust. And more importantly, companies that kind of make a commitment to keep it up to date. And you know, if at some point this company, Mello, that makes this cooker goes out of business, I'm going to have to stop using the cooker because it won't be patched anymore. Nobody's going to fix it. Nobody's going to update it. It'll still work, but it could also be a gateway to my internet. There are other ways. They're kind of complicated that you could protect yourself. There are routers, and I suspect we'll see more of this, that allow you to create a secure subnetwork in your house. This is what would be the ideal. That you put all your doorbells and your cookers and your ovens and your everything on this private subnetwork, and it's protected. It can't get into the rest of the network. That would be the ideal way to do it. The only one I know of right now, it's nice. It's an inexpensive router from Ubiquiti. It's I think $50 is it's called the Edge Router X. But it's not for mortal man. It's hard to figure. I mean, it took me a while to figure it out, and but it's a kind of cool device because it's exactly what it does. Is it allows you to say, all right, I'm going to put a Wi-Fi access point on this subnetwork, and I'm going to have all of them. I'm going to have my Echo join it. I'm going to have my Google Assistant. I'm going to have everything join that, and they won't have the router. Edge Router X will keep them from getting to the rest of my network. But this is kind of a black diamond tip. This is for the advanced users. It's a little complicated. I'm not even convinced that I know what I'm doing. So careful. But honestly, these are the kinds of things we're going to have to start thinking about. I don't have to. I mean, just look at what's going on in the world around us and how people are getting hacked. There is a botnet out there that really concerns me. It's called the Reaper. It is a network of compromised devices, mostly routers, and there are many of them. I don't know how many it is. It was growing at 10,000 routers a day for a while. It's probably in the millions. That somebody has compromised. We don't know who. We don't know who's controlling it. We can't stop them from controlling it. These are routers that haven't been patched, that have security flaws, and could be used in a variety of ways. It's probably based on the virus, the malware that's being used, a nation, not an individual. It's pretty sophisticated. but we don't even know what they're going to use it for. If you want to read about it, just Google Reaper botnet and then be afraid. And that's an example of why the Internet of Things needs to be secured, not just for you and me and our privacy, but for the security of the Internet. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. We're going to go back to the phones, take more of your calls right after this. It's funny because, we talked a lot about this a couple of weeks ago when it was discovered, and nobody said anything since. It's like, this thing's growing, but we don't know. Our show today brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage. That's not their jingle, but it could be. They are a home lender. Well, they're the biggest home lender, one of the biggest. I think they're number 2 in the country. You've probably heard of Quicken Loans, right? Oh, of course you have. So Quicken Loans they're very savvy. They're very technological. One of the reasons they're number 1 for customer satisfaction year after year after year, this according to J.D. Power in mortgage origination, is because they're savvy. They are customer focused, and they've got a customer-centric solution that's perfect for people like me, maybe like you, that don't want to go hat in hand to a bank, that don't want to go up into the attic and go through all our papers to get the bank statements or the pay stubs or all that stuff. We'd like to do it all online. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It's an entirely online mortgage process. So easy, you can do it on your phone. So fast, you could do it at an open house. Let's say you go to an open house tomorrow and you say, we weren't thinking of buying this, but boy, this price is great. We love the house. What do you think? Well, you can't just go to the realtor and say, look, give us a couple of weeks. We're going to go get a loan. We'll be back. The house is going to be gone. So what you do is you get your phone and you go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy on the phone. You answer a couple of questions. You don't have to go to the attic to get pay stubs or bank statements because Quicken Loans, they're partners with all the big financial institutions. So you just give them some basic information. They go, okay. Is this your bank's? Yeah, that's my bank. So, okay, so we got all the information we need. You didn't have to send them anything. And then, because it's computerized, there's not some guy with a eye shade and a calculator figuring out your stuff. They just crunch the numbers based on income, assets, and credits. They're going to say, okay, here's what you qualify for. Choose your down payment, your term, your rate. Pick the loan you want based on, your assets, your situation. They're going to give you a loan that's right for you, and they will give you an approval within minutes right there on the screen. You show the realtor, yeah, we got the loan. We want the house. I love this. There's a button on it that says download the approval letter. So sometimes people want a printed approval letter. Just download it and print it. Here we go. Awesome. If it's time to buy or time to refi, I want you to do me a favor. Go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy. At least check them out. Bookmark it if you're not buying today, but bookmark it. They're, of course, an equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org, number 3030. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Rocketmortgage.com/techguy. And just have that in your arsenal, ready for that moment when you're ready to buy. Rocketmortgage.com/techguy. And we do thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888 Ask Leo. The 8888 Ask Leo is a phone number that's good, toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. But if you're outside that area, we had callers last week from Belgium and the Netherlands. If you're outside that area, you just can you Skype out and call that number. It shouldn't cost you anything. Aaron, Riverside, California. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for hanging on.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well.
Good. Hey, I had a question. I have an iPhone 7. It's not the newest one. It's the one, the one before the newest one, the iPhone Plus.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I'm an expert on iPhone numbering schemes.
Awesome.
I can tell you any year at all. Go ahead. Anyway, iPhone 7. Very nice phone.
So my question was, about a month ago, I was going on Google, searching stuff. And as soon as I typed search, it would bring me to this page where it said, our systems have detected unusual traffic from your computer, gives an IP address, all that crap. And then it didn't give me the little box to type in the numbers at first, but now it's doing it. So
what numbers does it want?
It gives like the CAPTCHA, the little...
Oh, the CAPTCHA. Yeah, I am not a robot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll type that in, and it doesn't do anything.
Okay, so this is on your iPhone.
Yeah.
And you're doing a search, and it's Google that's coming up with the result?
Right. I'll go through Safari, and then I'll go into Google, and then I'll search something, and then all of a sudden it'll go straight to that.
Does it do it for you get that for every page you search for, or just for certain searches?
It's really just random things. Like I'll type in news, and then press search, and it'll go to that. And mind you, I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I'm on just my T-Mobile data. And if I switch to Wi-Fi, it doesn't do that at all. But then if I switch back to the data, it does it. And
oh, that's interesting. So it never happens on Wi-Fi.
I think it's happened once. And
I wonder if T-Mobile is sending this to you.
I don't know.
I've never heard of this. So what is the as best you can remember, the message that you get?
It says like
your device is.
Our systems have detected unusual traffic from your computer network. This page checks to see if it's really you sending the request and not a robot. And then it has like a highlighted thing to say, why did this happen? And then I reset my phone because it needed an update. I did it last night, and then I went to Google and tried it, and it's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, Google has a page that talks about this error. If devices on your network seem to be sending automated traffic to Google, you might see this. Sending searches from a robot, computer program, automated service search script. What they're worried about is some sort of automated. Do you ever use something that downloads web pages or anything like that?
On my phone, not really.
Well, anywhere, because I mean, I guess it would be only when you're using your T-Mobile network. The CAPTCHA is to just make sure that that's not a robot. See, if you were using some sort of automated program to download pages, it wouldn't know how to answer that question. But why is it happening is the question. Are you using a VPN?
No.
You know what a VPN is?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that only be...
well, you can. iPhone, I think you can turn on a VPN in your phone. So Google, what Google says is they consider this abuse. You might want to call T-Mobile because it doesn't happen on your Wi-Fi. It only happens when you're on the T-Mobile network. That one time by accident, maybe your phone was using the T-Mobile network, you just didn't realize it.
Right.
So if it only happens on your Wi-Fi, I mean you're a T-Mobile.
Because I used to have Verizon before, and it never really happened. And then we switched to T-Mobile like 7 months ago, and
I'd call T-Mobile. I wonder if they may have, so you're going to get some guy. They're very nice. I love the T-Mobile help people. They're very friendly. In fact, when you first call T-Mobile, I get an automated voice that says, "Hello, Leo," which cracks me up. They're very nice, but they're not experts, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to say, "Oh, let me see in the notebook," and they're going to turn to that page. And with any luck, you're not the only person it's happening to, and T-Mobile knows what the fix is because I think
I called before and they kind of didn't. They kind of gave me the runaround.
They didn't have a page in their notebook then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this something to be worried about? Like,
are you using tethering or hotspotting?
No. I just have my Bluetooth on in the car, and then when I get home, the Wi-Fi automatically connects, and that's pretty much it.
Have you done you keep your iPhone up to date, right? You're at 11.1.2, I think, is the latest, or 11.2.2. Make sure it's all the way up to date. It might be
1.2, right?
Yeah, 11.1.2. That's correct.
It's just first when I saw it, I'm like, what?
If it's an iPhone, which means you can't really do anything bad. Apple won't let you.
Right.
So that makes me think that it's something happening on the T-Mobile network. And so if they didn't know, but try one more time. Either you'll get a rep that knows more, or it's been happening, recently. Did this just start recently?
It started about like a month ago for me.
Yeah.
But why Google though? Why would it just affect?
Oh, this is the reason is Google's monitoring it. A lot of, if you just go to a web page directly, it's not paying attention to what else is happening. But every time you do a Google search, see, the reason is people use bots to go out on the net and do automated searches or all sorts of things, and Google wants to block that. They don't feel like it's an appropriate use of their bandwidth. I don't blame them. So that's why Google's saying that. It's spotted some sort of odd traffic from your particular internet address, your IP address. That address is provided to you by T-Mobile. And it may not be your particular address. It might be a range of it. Most likely it's a range of addresses that T-Mobile owns. So it may not be coming from your phone. It might be somebody one number above or below you. So you're on the same subnet. And Google's flagging that subnet. So maybe somebody who has a T-Mobile phone is doing something strange with a VPN or whatever, but you're getting flagged as a result.
It's like an accumulation of it's like too much for the system or something.
Yeah. So let's say I'm a guy with a T-Mobile phone, and I happen to use my T-Mobile phone to tether to my computer, and on my computer I'm running an automated bot that downloads entire websites. People do this. T-Mobile, it's coming through that T-Mobile IP address. Google's noticing that I'm doing it. And I'm not sure why Google would see it. Maybe I'm doing a search through Google or somehow going through Google and says, or maybe it's a blog spot. Maybe it's one of Google's properties. I'm downloading all the pages from a blog, say. So Google has somehow noticed this and says, well, that range of addresses, we're getting weird traffic from. So let's put this notice up. And I think that's what's happening. It's probably, by the way, somebody not using an iPhone, because I don't think there's any way you could do anything with an iPhone that would trigger this. It's either a computer that they've tied their phone to, or they're using an Android device. So everybody from T-Mobile, or at least from a segment of T-Mobile's audience, is seen as the same person by Google. That's why you're getting it. It should go away, but I would call T-Mobile and complain. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That is weird. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to the phones we go, and Myron is on the line from Minnesota. Hi, Myron.
Leo, how you doing?
I am very well. How are you?
I called you. I'm good. I'm good. A little cold, but I'm doing good.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I think this is the time of year, isn't it? It's the cold season.
It is.
Yep.
It is. I actually called you last week about the 6S Plus, trying to upgrade it.
I remember. Yeah. Did you do it?
Okay. No. Well,
cold feet, eh?
She didn't want to do it.
All right.
But, okay, here's what I'm thinking of doing, and I want to get your opinion. We're going to trade in the 6S Plus. I'm going to give my wife my 7 Plus, and I'm seriously thinking about getting the Essential phone, and I want to know what your opinion is.
Well, have you ever used Android before?
Yes, I had a Samsung S4.
And you like it?
S4. You
like Android?
I loved it, yeah.
So the Essential phone is a great deal because it was a flop. And I shouldn't laugh. It's sad. And this is, we were talking at the beginning of the show about nowadays the pace of reviews is so fast that often reviewers get it wrong. And this was a classic of them getting it wrong. I bought the Essential phone, got it when it first came out. And I, like all the reviewers, had a problem. The camera app, which is very important on a smartphone, crashed the phone the first time I launched it. And even then after it did that, it was slow and buggy. But Essential, which is a startup, by the way, run by Andy Rubin, the guy who invented Android. He founded Android, sold it to Google, and et cetera, et cetera. So he's a reliable person. They pushed out 3 or 4 fixes to the camera, and they finally got it right, and that phone now is flawless. In fact, it's one of the few Android devices out there now that you can go to Android 8.0, Oreo. They're offering an Oreo upgrade now. So I like that because Android especially it's important to keep it up to date. Very, very important to get the security patches, and they're doing a great job, better than Samsung. I think it's a beautiful phone, titanium and ceramic. It's really unusual materials. And because it wasn't selling well, they have cut the price $200. It's now a $500 phone. And I've even seen discounts to $450 with some retailers. At that price, That is a fantastic phone. It's a Snapdragon 835 processor, top of the line Qualcomm processor, so it's super fast. Very nice LCD screen, and it's one of these phones, kind of like the iPhone 10, where there's no bezel, no frame, so it's small in the hand but a big screen. In my opinion, it's the best low-cost Android phone out there. If you're not willing to get a Google Pixel, and many people don't want to spend the $900, $800, $900 for that. The Essential is a fabulous phone. I wish them well. I really hope they do well.
I have it on hold. I have it on hold for $450, and then they said that they'd give me $160 for my iPhone 6s.
That's fabulous. Did you play with it? Did you touch it?
I haven't yet. I'm on the job right now, and I'm going after.
So that's what I would do. I would go, because it's very I can't tell you if you're going to like the size and so forth. A lot of people don't like a small phone. I think it's fabulous. Of course, because it's kind of a bywater of the Android family. It's not. They didn't sell very many. In fact, supposedly Sprint, which is one of the only, I think, carrier to sell it direct, had only sold 5,000. It's tiny numbers. There aren't a lot of accessories. I think there are cases out there, but not very many, things like that. On the other hand, I don't think you'd want to put it in the case. It is, I think, as beautiful as the iPhone 10. It is a gorgeous phone. So play with it. If you like it, I wouldn't hesitate.
Will it continue to be supported? I mean, with updates and everything?
Well, it's hard to say. Yes, I think so, because it's Andy Rubin. If it were anybody else... But he has such a great track record. I don't think he's going to have trouble keeping the company afloat, raising money. Their long-term play is a home automation play. They're going to make a hub. They'll be around for a while. I think you could probably, the problem with Android is 2 years are as long as any Android phone gets updated. Google extended their Pixel to 3 years. So it'll be updated for 2 years for sure. And after that, I think even then it'll probably be all right for a while.
Okay.
I would look at it's price sensitivity. If you don't mind spending $1,000, I would look at the iPhone 10.
Mm-hmm.
But for $450 plus a $160 rebate, that is now it's under $300. That's a very affordable phone.
Yeah.
And I think if that's important to you, if the price is important to you, go get it. You'll be very happy.
Okay, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no headphone jack, but neither does the 7, so you're used to that.
Yep.
It'll work with either Bluetooth headphones or an adapter. They provide. It comes with a Type-C headphones that you can plug into the bottom.
Is that wireless for charging or no?
No.
Okay.
So this is the problem with metal phones. You can't wireless charge. That's why Apple switched from metal to a glass back on their iPhone 10 so that you could wireless charge it. And I think that to me, that's fairly important. This is why it's hard to say there's the best phone. It really depends on what features you care about. Camera's good, not as good as the iPhone 10, not as good as the Google Pixel 2, but it's decent. It has a nice black and white feature, which I really like.
Okay.
So play with it, see how you feel. We're going to see, it's as the chat room is pointing out, it's hard to say with Android phones because there's a new one every 5 seconds. This week, the OnePlus 5T comes out, and that'll be $500 as well, and that's a very nice phone as well. But I like the Essential phone. If you want a phone that feels nice in the hand, go play with it. You might fall in love with it. Titanium and ceramic, that's a very unusual materials, yeah. And it is flagship in every respect.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's a good deal. You're getting, top of the line device for a bargain price because they couldn't sell them.
Right. Great.
Have fun.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. We're going to take a little break, a little time out here. Come back with more of your calls. I've got Myron. Oh, we just talked to Myron. So Chris in Sherman Oaks, Larry in Palm Springs, and Dr. Bird from Laguna Niguel, all coming up. You stay here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Back to the phones. And Chris in Sherman Oaks. Chris, don't tell anybody in Sherman Oaks what you just heard us talking about during the commercial, okay?
I won't say anything.
Yeah. Sherman Oaks happens to be home base for the Tech Guy Show. We're just down the road a piece.
Across the street.
Across the street?
Yep.
You don't work for Clear Channel, do you?
No.
Oh, good. Okay. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. What can I do for you?
I was listening to you, and I had a question. So when I pull up my... Oh, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
When I pull up my browser...
Yeah.
So I go to, like, Google to search something, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'll put in Leo Laporte, and, like, 10 things will autofill come in.
Yeah.
And so...
Don't ever type Leo Laporte is in your Google browser, or anybody for that matter, because the autocomplete solutions are very bad.
Yeah, but that's not my problem.
Oh, good. It's my problem, not yours. Go ahead. What's your problem?
When I go ahead, like 10 things will come up, and when I like hit my down arrow to like scroll through them, there's no highlight anymore. I can hardly see it. It's driving me crazy.
Oh, let me see that. Oh, yeah, they don't. Yeah, so you're a keyboard kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Google expects you to be doing that with your mouse.
Well,
but you want to tab down or arrow key down.
Even if I use my mouse, my arrow, I can't get any the highlight color or whatever. It doesn't highlight.
If I use the mouse on mine, it does put an underline under it. But that's that's the CSS, the style sheet. CSS stands for cascading style sheets. There is a default that Google sends, and this is pretty advanced. It depends on how important this is to you, but you can provide your own style sheet that would include that if you want. In order to do that, though, you're going to have to learn the syntax of CSS, cascading style sheets. I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'll just download it in my Mac.
It may not be that hard. In fact, if you search for maybe this problem and CSS, there's probably somewhere. This is the beauty of the internet these days. There's probably somebody out there who's written his own style sheet that does what you want it to do, and then all you do is you download that and you change your settings to say, yeah, please use mine, and then and this is actually helpful for people who, for instance, can't use a mouse. Maybe they're using a pointing stick or some other solution, and so they want it to do that. Let's see here. Somebody's given me a link in the chat room. I wonder if this is somebody's already found. I wouldn't be surprised. The chat room is really quick on the draw here. Somebody's found a solution. Neo says, how do you like that? Thank you, Neo. This is a Chrome extension called Google Search Keyboard Shortcuts.
Cool.
That would do it.
Very cool.
That's free. You install that into your Chrome, and now you're going to have, it adds back the basic keyboard functionality that Google took out.
Oh, sweet.
How about that, huh? Thanks for the call.
Thank you very much.
And thanks, Neo, for solving that one. That's nice. Google search. So this happened when Google created a unified design across mobile and desktop, killing off that keyboard function. But this is why the internet is cool. I mean, there's bad things. I know, lots of them about the internet. But it's vast. It's huge. It's as big as life itself now. It's as big as the globe. And for any particular little problem that's driving you crazy, there's always some geek somewhere who says, well, I'm going to fix that, codes up something. And in this case, it's very easy to implement. So thank you, Neo, for that extension. And, of course, as always, put a link to that in our show notes, techguylabs.com. Those are free, by the way. We don't require you to sign up or pay a fee or anything like that. techguylabs.com. Yeah, we're at the mercy of the designers at these companies who, we don't think it should look different on desktop and mobile, so we're just going to make everything look like it does on the mobile. No! No! 8888 asks, actually, a good thing to learn is CSS. If you want to, if you're interested in a career in technology, CSS is kind of a more modern way of styling web pages. It used to be, maybe you remember this in the old days, remember HTML? We still use it. But the idea was if you wanted text to be bold, you'd write angle bracket, bold, angle bracket, and then put the text. Then you'd put angle bracket / bold, angle bracket. And that would all be mushed in with the content, would be the styling. That's a kind of ugly way to do it. So the wizards at the World Wide Web Consortium kind of said, well, there should be a better. What if we kept styles separate from the markup, from the content? So that way, you could change the styling without having to go dig into the content. And so they created these style sheets. They're cascading because they inherit from the predecessor. It's kind of like a ancestor-child thing. So the child style sheet inherits styles from the ancestor, and then the child of the child and the child of the child. So I'm sorry I got into it. Never mind. Larry on the line. Save me, Larry, from Palm Springs. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Larry.
Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You've been on hold since the morning, so I understand your confusion.
I'm in Palm Desert right now. In Maps, Google Maps, it still has my old address. I've moved from my old address to my new address. Been a year and a half now. But when you're somewhere and you say "take me home,"
oh yeah, that's annoying, isn't it?
Address.
Yeah, I hate that.
So how do I get that updated?
Well, you got to call the CEO of Google, Larry Page, and you say, "No, I'm kidding. I'm joking." That's in the settings in the Maps. So you open Maps and you go to settings. You know that they call it the hamburger menu. It's that 3 lines up in the upper left-hand corner. Believe it or not, those are settings. No one even knows what those 3 lines are, but if you tap them, right at the top, it'll say Your Places. And in Your Places, it has home and work. Just edit that.
Okay. All right.
That's all.
Yeah, I wrote a letter to them, and they never answered me back, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's
next question.
Yes.
I used to use Truecaller to keep all my spam calls.
I love Truecaller. Yeah, nice Swedish company. Yeah.
It worked perfectly, but when I bought a new Samsung 8S, it's competing with Messages Plus.
Oh, yeah.
So they keep bouncing back and forth. So
oh, that's annoying.
I have one or the other. But Messages Plus doesn't take care of spam like Truecaller did, so...
yeah, so you don't have to use, on Android, you can use any text messaging program, any of a number of text messaging programs. And that's stored in the apps setting. There's a default apps, so you might have to hit the menu button. I think in Samsung there's not 3 lines, but 3 dots in the upper right, not the upper left, but there's 3 dots.
Yeah.
And if you go into default, you can change it to a different messaging app that doesn't get in the way. So you're actually Messages Plus, I think, is not a Samsung app, but a third-party app.
It's Verizon.
Yeah,
Verizon.
Take it off, uninstall it, or disable it because you don't want to use that. Just use the messages that comes with the Samsung phone. That should be on there. Then it won't interfere, and you can continue to use Truecaller. I like Truecaller as well. Truecaller is a nice Swedish company, so I trust them, and they have. What they'll do is every text message and every well, actually, there's True Message in Truecaller. So Truecaller will do every phone call that comes in. They'll block it if it's spam, and or they'll not. Sometimes they'll just say, "Hey, it's a spam caller. Do you want to block it?" And I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I think in this day and age, you need that because. I don't know, if you're anything like me, my phone's ringing all the time from spam callers. Often with the same area code as mine. And sometimes not only the same area code, but the same first 3 digits. You know, the exchange, they call it neighbor spoofing. And spammers realize, well, if our caller ID says not only your number, but your exchange, you'll think it's a neighbor or a friend or a family member, and you'll answer it. And then they say, congratulations, you've just won. And then you hang up and you go, duh! So Truecaller is you have to pay for it, don't you? I think there's a subscription.
No, I get it free.
Oh, nice.
It's free.
Yeah, Verizon and every other carrier are doing their own thing now, trying to do this. But you're right. I think Truecaller is better than anybody. So that's a good choice.
My wife just asked me how it knows it's spam because of the history. That's
yes,
why.
And in fact, you can if you get one that doesn't say spam, you can say, "Hey, that one was spam," and they'll add that to their database.
Yeah, right. You grade it when you're done with a call.
Yeah, get smart. That's called crowdsourcing, and that's a great solution. Hey, I got to run, but I'm glad we could talk. I hope we helped you out a little bit here. I love the basic calls like that because everybody's sitting there going, I don't know how to do that. But they don't want to call, so thank you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, Truecaller. I was a little nervous about them at first, but they're Swedish, so they got to be good. Our podcast today brought to you by some great folks doing a product that just knocks me out. I use all the time. It's kind of, I feel like almost what my iPad was invented for. It's called Texture. It is, best description would be Netflix for magazines. So I subscribe to Texture. It's affordable. I think we have a deal for $9.99 a month. For that price, you get access to every page of over 200 of the best magazines in the world. Every page of the newsstand issue, plus back issues, plus bonus features you can't get on a printed magazine. First of all, if you love photography, and I do, the photographs in National Geographic or Shutterbug look 10 times better because you're looking at it on a great iPad screen. I just think that's fantastic. The categories, every magazine you can think of, from automotive magazines, like Car and Driver, Cycle World, Hot Rod, Motor Trend, Road and Track, Truck Trend, to business and finance magazines. I wouldn't normally subscribe to Adweek, but hey, I'm fascinated by it. Bloomberg Business Week, of course, Fortune and Forbes, Fast Company, Entrepreneur. I read my New Yorker. It's a weekly magazine. If I got it in print, I probably wouldn't read it because I'd feel so guilty because, you know, it piles up, right? But there's always one or two articles I want to read. Well, I've got it on my iPad thanks to Texture. And look how great. I mean, you got it. The images look so great in this. By the way, every page, including like for Shutterbug, I like the ads. I like to look at the camera ads. They're all in there. And of course, you can zoom in on any image so you can really see, you can pixel peep. And it's much better quality than any print magazine ever. I am just such a fan. I want you to try it out for free. The New Yorker, Vanity Fair, Wired Magazine, Rolling Stone, Make Magazine. If you, I love Dwell. I'm not, you know, if you're a bride, they got Brides Magazine. They got Cosmopolitan, Bazaar, Glamour, Elle, Interview, all the magazines. Vogue, of course. Go to texture.com/twit. and try out free. I would probably not subscribe to a dozen cooking magazines, right? They have more than 20. But the fact that they're all there and I can search them and find great recipes is fantastic. Health and fitness, too. I like to think about getting healthy. Try Texture right now at texture.com/twit. Absolutely free for 2 weeks. Texture.com/twit. Just imagine having your favorite magazines and their back issues anytime, anywhere, on any device. And by the way, you can put it on 5 different devices. So put it on your tablet, your phone. Actually, this is my wife's subscription. I just borrow hers. We share it, right? That's okay. texture.com/twit. Try it free today. You're going to love it. And I love how you can actually make the text big so it's easy to read. It's better than a magazine. Why would you want a print magazine? Look at these. So fantastic. And I like it when you look at the table of contents. If you say, oh, I want to read that article, you just this is so much better for navigating than a magazine. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, artificial intelligence, augmented reality. You know, the hot topics these days are kind of have that, there's a certain kind of similar, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, machine learning. This is virtual reality. This is all, you know, we're starting to get in the world where reality is not so hot. What we need is augmented, the next kind of virtual reality, machine learning, artificial intelligence, not the real stuff. What does that say about our culture? Technology's got to the point now where it's better? Not yet. But you can kind of see dimly over the horizon, just a little pink glow of the future. Fortunately, I don't think I'm going to be around for it, but my kids will and their kids, where artificial intelligence maybe is better than real intelligence. Oh, I hate the idea. Virtual reality is better than real reality. Oh, I don't want to be around for that. But I think that's where Silicon Valley wants us to go, right? Right now, it's horrible because they're pushing it. And I mentioned this last week, but we're in the what they call the uncanny valley. So this comes from animators who understood that if you're animating a mouse character, nobody's going to be made uncomfortable by Mickey Mouse because, yeah, of course it doesn't look like a real mouse. It's a cartoon, so it's cute, it's funny. But then as you push harder to make it look like a real mouse, at some point it'll look like a real mouse. But right before that point, it's weird. It's like close, but not great. And it weirds you out. And the problem is really with humans, trying to make an artificial human character, because our brains are really well attuned to facial characteristics, to reading body language, to kind of intuiting what a person's thinking by looking at them. And computer-generated humans we know something's wrong. And it actually can make you queasy. That's the problem with virtual reality. It makes you a little queasy. And, you know, there's some biologists who theorize this goes back to a protective mechanism. If you're, our dim, dark ancestors back in the days of hunters and gatherers, and you're wandering in the forest and you find a mushroom, it looks really good, and you pop it in your mouth and you eat it, and then things start getting weird, looking a little odd, your body will get nauseous and you'll get rid of the mushroom. You'll throw it up. And evolutionary biologists theorize this is why we have trouble with virtual reality. And why the uncanny valley kind of makes us queasy is because it's as if we ate some bad mushrooms. And life is kind of weird. And so maybe I should, whatever that was I ate, I should get rid of it. And a good portion of humans, if you put on those VR glasses that everybody's all crazy about this virtual reality. I'm one of them. You put them on. I love it. It's fun. But after a while, about an hour sometimes, maybe only 15 minutes, for my wife about 3 seconds, you start going, I don't feel so good. And there's all these theories. Oh, and they all come from the people who make this stuff. Oh, the frame rate is not. We got to increase the frame rate. We got to make it, their latency, where you turn your head and then a millionth of a second later the screen turns. That's making you queasy. And then there's some people, the optical people in the world, who say, well, the real problem is your eyeballs are focusing on a distance right in front of them, because that's where the screen is. Oh, my computer's getting upset at me for talking about this. I'm sorry. I apologize. Was that my coffee cup? They get angry, if you talk to them. So, where it was? Hi. Oh boy. So I'm in the uncanny valley right now. I feel like I should probably go to take a break. So the other theory, the optical theory, is your eyes are focusing on the screen, but what you're seeing on the screen, the same thing happens with 3D movies. What you're seeing on the screen is not at the same convergence distance of your eyes. You're focusing on a plane distance, and the mismatch between the convergence of your eyes as they're pointing in, slightly crossed looking at that screen, and what you think you're seeing, which is 50 feet away or 5 feet or 10 feet away, doesn't match. Then your brain goes, uh-oh, you ate something bad. Something's quick. That's I mean, it's hard to fix that. That's our biology. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do to fix that. But I can imagine someday we're going to get to that point where artificial intelligence is indistinguishable from real intelligence. Virtual reality is indistinguishable from real reality. I just don't want to be around for it. 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. It's bad enough my coffee cup's talking to me. Back to the phones we go. Let's see who's next. Larry in Palm. Oh, no, I did Larry. Let's go to Dr. Bird, Laguna Niguel. Hi, Dr. Bird.
Well, hello, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, I tell you, you're almost making me motion sick talking about
just talking about it. Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, this is just horrible. I mean,
have you ever used virtual reality? Have you ever tried it?
I literally would throw up.
Yeah, you probably would, or at least you'd want to, until you rip them off. But then there's the other thing that happens after you use virtual reality, and the Air Force noticed this because they use it all the time in simulator. They call it sim sickness.
True, yeah, they use that for the pilots.
Yeah, they call it simulator sickness, and it can last as long as 24 hours where you're slightly disoriented. And the Air Force says about 11% of the population should not drive a car for 24 hours after using a sim.
Oh, I figure that's exactly right, because if you look at the motions of what your body goes through when you're driving a car,
right,
versus what just your eyes are going through when you're using a simulator,
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there, because I'm sure that's not what you called to talk about.
Well, I'll tell you what, mushrooms. You were talking about mushrooms. All mushrooms. I am highly allergic to mushrooms.
Well, don't eat mushrooms, and that's.
Oh my God! Never have a pizza with mushrooms. Never.
See, I like that.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Well, me and you can. If we have a pizza,
you get half. Your half has no mushrooms.
Half without mushrooms.
What do you like instead of the mushrooms?
I'll tell you, sausage and pepperoni. Sausage, pepperoni, and onions.
Well, I don't know. Who needs mushrooms? You got that.
Well, boy.
That's better than mushrooms.
Absolutely.
What can I do for you?
Well, I'll tell you, Leo, it's time for me to make out my bills as like everyone else does. I see my Cox Communication bill at $186. Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Of course, now that's for TV.
And internet.
And telephone.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's not so bad. I mean,
it's not horrible, but I have got a piece of paper out here saying alternatives to cable TV. So do you have any?
Yes. But they all use internet. So the first thing to ask Mr. Cox is, well, what's it going to cost if I don't do TV, but I just do internet? And he said, well, that's going to cost you more. They raise the price, typically $10 over their internet price if you get TV. And that's because, well, you're going to cost us all this revenue. So you got to add this up. So my preferred cable cutters, cord cutters television service is YouTube TV from Google.
Let me write that down here.
YouTube TV. There's plenty. There's PlayStation View. There's Slingbox TV. AT&T Direct has one called Direct TV Now. There's even some new ones coming up. Plex is going to do it. A lot of them. But my favorite right now is $35 a month. YouTube TV. It gets the local stations. So go there and see. Make sure. I'm sure it'll get your local stations. We get the LA stations probably.
Okay. Now, Leo, about the YouTube TV. Is that having to use the satellite dish?
No, it uses your internet.
Good.
All internet, all of these were what we call over-the-top services, internet-only services. You know, I have to take a break, but let me come back. Stay on the line if you can, Dr. Bird, and we'll explain why we call you Dr. Bird, because that's good too. But I'm going to talk about these over-the-top services and why it may not save you money, but it'll give you the good feeling of cutting the cord. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. I was talking to Dr. Bird in Laguna Niguel.
Exactly.
You're a wildlife photographer, as I remember.
Absolutely. You bet, Leo.
Take a lot of bird pictures.
Oh, yeah.
What are you shooting these days? What kind of camera?
Well, I'm mainly using my 7D Mark II. I really like that camera the best, although I do have a 1DX.
Interesting. That's the top-of-the-line Canon.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, Leo, let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
When you're out at places like a wetland, like you've been to Bolsa Chica before, right?
Yeah, you don't want to bring a $5,000 camera with you.
Well, now, I'll tell you, when you're at Bolsa Chica,
yeah.
And you have the terns flying overhead,
yeah,
12 frames a second,
yeah,
everything.
You need it.
That's where the 1DX comes in.
Yep. You need it. My friend Scott Bourne, who's also a wildlife photographer, specializes at bald eagles. He's actually shooting, of all things, a Micro Four Thirds system, the Olympus OMD EM5 Mark II. And he does it because it does something like 20 frames a second and has very fast focus. And he's able to get some amazing shots. And I guess nowadays, you know, we always used to think as photographers, you want a bigger sensor. That's going to give you the most light collection. It's going to give you the most resolution. It's going to give you the best pictures. But the electronics has become so important that even the modern smartphones with tiny little sensors are able to do a pretty credible job. And, of course, a Micro Four Thirds sensor, which is smaller than the sensors on your 7D or 1DX, still can deliver if it has the right electronics behind it, and I guess it does. It gets very, very crisp pictures.
I'll tell you, Canon, I really wish they would listen to photographers like me.
They're falling behind.
Well, what's happened here, if you look at the old 1D series, those used to have a 1.3 sensor. And us bird photographers, we would love to see a 1DX with a 1.6 sensor.
Oh, man.
Because this way, see, you got to look at it this way. If you have a 500 millimeter lens, you put on a 2x teleconverter, you're at 1,000 millimeters with a 1DX. You take that same combination.
You get the crop factor.
500 millimeter with a 2x on a 7D Mark II, it's 1,600 millimeters.
Right. Because a smaller, this is complicated, but just trust us, the smaller the sensor, the longer the lens.
Absolutely.
It's
and
hard
when you're
to
doing birds,
explain.
Leo,
Yeah.
you ever have too big of a lens?
Never.
No way.
I brought my 400 with me to the Galapagos, and it still wasn't enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted more. Anyway, getting back to your question, cord cutting. So I'm going to give you a term that you're going to hear a lot with cord cutting. It's called over-the-top. The idea is if you could get, for instance, HBO, a cable channel that you get on your cable, if you could get it over the Internet, that would be called over-the-top, on top of the Internet, but not using the television part of the cable. Okay. So over-the-top is tricky because, well, HBO can do it. They offer HBO Now. Showtime can do it. A few of the big important cable channels can do it, but a lot of cable channels don't dare do it. They don't want to lose their relationships with their primary distribution, which is cable television. So it's still a mixed bag, but more and more companies are doing it. YouTube TV is a pretty good example. Apple's been making noises about doing this, and others as well. That might be interesting, but I think what's happening is they're having a hard time making the deals with the television networks and the television channels. People are now afraid of Apple because Apple basically destroyed the music industry with iTunes. Yeah. So, but YouTube is so if you go to tv.youtube.com, you can get a demo. The thing that I think is important, I suspect is important to you, most cord cutters, is, well, I know I can get Netflix, I know I can get HBO Go, I can get, a lot of content, but what if I want to watch the local news or the nightly news? What if I want to watch the Oscars or the Super Bowl, stuff that's only on broadcast? How am I going to get that? If you're close enough to the city that you could point your antenna, your rooftop antenna, then that's one way to do it, and probably the best way to do it. That's free.
Well, where I live, Leo, I can't point anything because I got a hillside behind me.
I can't either.
Yeah.
So for us, we need an internet solution, even for those locals. And YouTube, in most markets, when you go to tv.youtube.com, you can enter your zip code, and they'll tell you if they offer it. But for me, I'm too far away from San Francisco to get the San Francisco stations via an antenna, but I can watch them on YouTube for $35 a month. So that's good.
On the Roku box.
Yeah.
A lot of people have mentioned that to me. What is that, and how does that work?
So Roku is only, it doesn't give you locals yet. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they did. But right now it's only internet television like HBO, like Netflix, that you pay a subscription fee for, a monthly subscription fee for. So the Roku's free.
Okay.
Basically, it adds internet capability to your television set. Your TV, smart TVs, often have that capability, but usually I prefer an Apple TV or a Roku or some other hardware because they just seem to do a better job than the stuff built into TVs. The software in the TVs isn't that good.
Well, the YouTube that you mentioned, it seems like that seems to be the most logical.
And you can put it on your Roku, so that's kind of cool. And Apple has not yet, but I think will soon offer it. That's kind of cool. So it means you've got a Roku box. That's the one connected to the internet, whether wirelessly via Wi-Fi or connected via an Ethernet cable to your router. And that has, and you can add channels. So it has Netflix. If you want HBO, you can pay HBO. I think it's $15.
I am not a movie watcher.
Okay, you don't care then.
DVR is important, though. So
YouTube has DVR. So it has a I think the interface on the YouTube TV is the best. That's one of the reasons I prefer it. They're really, you got to look at what channels they offer and see if it's got the channels you want. But if it has the channels you want, and you're looking and you say, oh, I want to see this show, but I can't watch Criminal Minds, let's say. I can't watch that this week. There's just a little plus button on it. You press it, and it's now added to your library. You can have up to 5 different users who can record shows. You can watch them then once it's recorded at your leisure, just as if you had a physical DVR, but it's all being recorded at YouTube's side.
Now, with the YouTube TV that you're talking about, it sounds like this one makes the most sense for me. Does that mean I have to have the computer on all the time?
No.
Or how does that work?
No. The Roku becomes that.
Okay, so I have. Let me write that down here. So combine
Roku or anything that supports it. Right now, it's Roku. I think of course, Android TV. So the NVIDIA Shield TV would support it. I think Apple's planning to. I can't remember if they do it now or not. But so yeah, so you'll need a box, a smart TV box that connects to your internet, and then you will add the app for YouTube TV, and suddenly that becomes your TV.
So if I combine the Roku box with YouTube TV, now tell me, how much is that going to cost me per month?
$35 a month.
Now,
plus your internet access, and again, you have to ask Mr. Cox, how much more is my internet access going to cost if I don't subscribe to television? And you'll see that it's as soon as you're not going to get our TV bundle. Well, and so that's the bottom line is if you add up the cost, depends on what you want. But if you add Netflix and HBO and then this, it may end up costing you the same as your cable bill. You may not save money, but you do get the satisfaction of controlling it.
Well, Leo, what I did do, I did call Cox, and I told them I want to drop the TV.
Yeah.
I want to have just the internet.
Yeah.
By itself.
What did they say?
Having just the internet, I'd be paying $60 a month.
Yep, that's pretty typical. So you have to add that to the $35. Now it's $95. Probably not a savings. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And one more thing, which I don't know what, I think Cox puts a limit on, and this is the other way they're getting you. I know Comcast says you can only watch a terabyte worth of TV a month. They have a bandwidth cap, and you may have a bandwidth cap from Cox. You better ask them.
I don't think I do.
Okay. That's good because...
Well, what they did tell me is that whenever I go to watch TV, I do have a limitation on my DVR.
Well, this is nice. This is YouTube TV is its own separate thing.
Okay.
And you can have 6 users, each with their own DVR.
Okay.
So there's kids' channels, but you got to look and see, because the one thing you want to look at is what channels and if it has the channels you want.
Well, here's the thing, Leo. Normally, whenever I'm watching TV, I'm watching Velocity, or I'm watching Discovery Channel, and some of the local news, maybe Fox News.
So that's but wait a minute, slow down, because Velocity is not going to be on most of these bundles.
Oh, no.
That's what I mean. You have to check and see what Discovery, I think, also is hard to get, because these companies, for whatever reason, either they have their own plans for over-the-top, or they don't want to annoy the cable companies. Let me just look and see if Sony has it, because Sony has a pretty big bundle. That's the Sony VU, PlayStation VU.
As far as my TV, Leo, I have an old 40-inch flat-screen TV. It's about 8 years old.
Yeah.
It does have HDMI input, so that
the Roku worked just fine.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
Velocity is going to be the challenge. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So good. Well, no, wait. PlayStation View, if you get the $74 a month version, has Velocity. Let me see. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it doesn't do it on the base model. The Core, $45 a month. No. See, they know. So you got to go to Elite, and Elite has Velocity, and that's $55 a month.
Oh, boy.
And let me see if it has Discovery. So that's the problem.
See, what you're talking about is it starts adding up almost as much as what I have with Cox.
You almost certainly won't save money.
Oh, my God.
This is all carefully calculated by the cable companies to keep you from changing.
Absolutely.
They saw this coming. At first, they tried to block it, and then they realized, well, we're not going to be able to block it. Yeah. So they raised their rates and changed their rules. You know, the bandwidth caps are their chief rule. So you will get for $55 a month with PlayStation View both Discovery and Velocity.
Yeah.
Not YouTube TV. And that's the thing. You have to look. Now, let me look at Sling TV, which is another company.
I have heard of that. Let me write that down.
So there's 5 or 6. There's YouTube TV. There's Sling TV. Okay. There's AT&T's is called...
they got their Uverse.
You know, this is different. This is an over-the-top solution. It's internet only, and it's called, I think, DirecTV Now, not satellite. You don't have to be an AT&T subscriber. You pay a monthly fee for DirecTV Now. There's PlayStation VU. And that's the one that I've just checked that has Velocity and Discovery, but it's $55. You have to pay the...
Yeah. I mean, I'm paying $55.
Yeah, big deal. You haven't saved anything, right?
Exactly.
So they're coming out, but all of these, I think you're going to find that there's a certain parity in the price because in the long run, they don't want to lose money.
Well, and what I do, whenever I call up Cox, I ask for their promotions department. I always like to get the latest promotion.
Yeah, you're smart. That's the way to manage the cable companies. You got to do it regularly.
If I didn't do that, I'd be paying $260 a month.
Yeah. So let me see. You should visit all of these over-the-top services.
So I definitely am. Thank you very much.
And then figure out which ones have the channels that you require, Discovery and Velocity.
Yep.
And I'm just looking at the Sling TV, DirecTV Now. There are a couple of new ones that are coming up. Philo, Philo. That's from Discovery. So that for sure will have Discovery. This one just emerged.
I'll write that down here. Philo TV?
Philo, yeah. Let's see. They have Velocity. So this may be your best deal. They have Velocity and Discovery. That's the 37 channels for $16 a month. So that might be for you.
Sure.
Philo might be your best choice. But then the next thing you got to make sure is it'll work on a Roku or whatever box you get, because you don't want to. Oh, I got to run. You don't want to keep a computer on. Thank you. I spent some more time with Dr. Bird. Now this is the key. If you're going to do this, if you're going to cut the cord, cut the cable, you're not really, right, because you're still using them for internet. So that's $60 probably, right? Depending on how fast your cable. And another thing to keep in mind is, do they offer bandwidth caps? Because, for instance, my Comcast is limited at 1 terabyte of data a month. Well, if you watch TV every night, you'll go through 1 terabyte in a couple of 3 weeks. Then you have to pay more. So they'd make this as hard as possible. So you gotta get the internet only service from them, find out what that costs, and then add one of these over the top services. And you'll need the hardware, whether it's a Roku or an Apple TV. You'll need the hardware that supports that service. He told me, and this is the calculus you're going to have to go through. Oh, I said, what do you watch? He said, well, I watch Discovery and the Velocity channel. Oh. Well, my recommendation, YouTube TV is not going to work for you because it doesn't have those channels. But there's a new service from Discovery called Philo that does. And actually, that's a pretty good deal. It's $16 a month. If that's all you watch, that's a good deal. But it doesn't have locals, right? So you got to work it all out. So we'll put in the show notes, we'll put a list of 5 or 6 of these, and there's more coming all the time, these over-the-top services. But what you'll need to do is a little homework. You'll need to go to each of their web pages and see if they have what you want. Then you do the math. And in most cases, it's my bet it's not going to save you money. The cable companies have known this was coming. So they've been slowly ramping up the cost of internet, preparing for the day when you're going to try to cut the cord. You got to do the math. 8888 to ask Leo the phone number. Jonathan's next. He's in Palmdale, California. Hi, Jonathan.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Much like Dr. Bird, I wanted to ask you about cutting the cord.
Good. This is a good topic. Everybody's trying to do it.
Well, it's not worth it anymore. I'm paying $200 a month, and I don't even have any premium stations.
The best reason to cut the cord is to stick it to the man.
You're right.
To tell the cable companies,
enough is too much.
Enough is enough. These guys are, $200 a month, and you're not getting premium channels.
And I'm not getting premium channels.
That's terrible.
Right? What I would like to do is I want to keep I have an older smart TV. I'm thinking about buying a new one.
Okay.
I don't know. I would like to have the local news. I didn't know about.
So let me ask you: can you put an antenna up and get the local news?
Not in Palmdale.
So you don't get any antenna, any over-the-air stations?
No. A laptop just to plug into my TV so I can watch local news on my TV, or do the new smart TVs get that?
Well, then, I mean, so it really comes down to how your locals are doing it. If they're streaming on the internet, can you watch them now on your laptop?
On my laptop, yes.
You can. So sometimes what they do is, as long as you're watching on a computer, they're cool with it. But as soon as you try to put it on a TV, they go, oh, no, no, no. Now you're competing with us. So sometimes that's possible. You can, with most operating systems, put the contents of your laptop on the screen. Depends on, so for Windows, you have to have your TV has to support the technologies that Windows supports for broadcasting, DLNA, and then there's a newer technology that Microsoft promotes, and I've forgotten the name of it, that lets you put it up on the TV. On Macintosh, you've got AirPlay. If you have a Chrome browser and a physical Chromecast device, you plug the Chromecast device into your TV, and then you can take the screen, the browser, and play it to the TV. That's often not very good. Miracast, thank you. That's the Miracast, M-I-R-A cast, is the new Windows technology. It's really just a kind of DLNA plus.
I'm currently using Roku.
So what you want to do is you want to search the Roku database of channels, and there's official ones and unofficial ones, and see if you can get the channels that you want on the Roku, because that would be the best way to do it. Then you don't have to have a computer at all, right?
Right.
You just plug the Roku into the TV. You know what? That's what. By the way, a Roku is just a computer that's always on, but it's kind of a specialized TV computer.
Right next to your TV.
Right next to your TV, and again, it can give you good quality output and blah blah blah. But you have to have enough bandwidth. So that is certainly where you should start, is to see what you can get on your Roku. And by the way, many of the over-the-top services I described, like Sony PlayStation View, will also be available as Roku channels. Plex is another.
And the YouTube TV that you recommend, I can get local stations with.
Yes, but again, you should check, and you could do that on your computer by going to tv.youtube.com, and they'll ask your location, and they'll tell you.
I'm on it right now.
That's $35, but again, if you happen to want to watch a certain cable channel, like our last caller, Dr. Bird, wanted to watch Velocity, well, good luck. Good luck.
I like Velocity.
Velocity's not on YouTube. But it is on Philo. So it's not like they're conspiring, because that would be illegal. But it feels like there's a conspiracy to keep you from, at least not to make this too easy. And in a way, there is a conspiracy. They don't want to make it too easy because the cable companies are very powerful. They, Comcast and Spectrum and Time Warner and Cox and all these guys, Verizon and AT&T, they don't want to lose this revenue stream. You're a gold mine.
I know, and I don't want to be anymore.
Yeah. In general, your local stations don't like this either. So that's why Apple, for instance, which wants to do this, Apple would be a natural one on the Apple TV, but the local stations won't even take their calls. They say, no, we're not going to do it with you. We're afraid of losing our business. It used to be, remember, locals, it used to be, and it is if you have an antenna, but nobody does anymore, free, and they make money with advertising, right? But what happened is the cable company started carrying them, and they would get extra money from the cable company. Now they're dependent on the extra money from the cable company plus the advertising, and they're not willing to annoy the cable company. They don't want to lose that must-carry fee. So
really,
I hate to ascribe greed to just good, common, old-fashioned American capitalism.
Isn't it the same thing?
Well, maybe. That would be a value judgment for you to make, but it ends up often looking the same, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So they're going to try to get let's put it this way. They're trying to extract as much money out of you as possible. And if there's no other choice, they'll go, okay, reluctantly, all right. You want to get it on the internet, we're going to figure out a way to do it. But they'll end up, I predict, getting as much money out of you as possible.
One more quick question, if I may.
Yes.
I'm in the market for a newer smart TV. My smart TV is about 6 years old, and it's pretty dumb.
I personally don't like smart TVs. The TV manufacturers don't keep them up to date. Their software usually isn't very good. I prefer to take if I could buy a dumb TV, I would. Nobody sells them anymore. And plug a Roku into it, smartening it. But Roku's keeping their stuff up to date, right?
I'm looking at a TCL TV that has Roku built into it.
I love the Tickles, and that is one good way to do that. Roku's making, in fact, their stock went through the roof last week because they announced more deals with television companies to put Roku in the TV. If you're going to, that's the way to do a smart TV. I agree with you. Because Roku will keep it up to date.
But my question is the TCL brand decent quality? I leave it
yes.
on. I was saying I want
to
fast.
They're cheap and fine. They're basically these are Chinese companies. Roku, Xiaomi, TCL, Xiaomi, Huawei. They're Chinese companies trying to get into the market. So they're offering very competitive prices. They're doing what the Korean companies did 10 years ago, putting the Japanese companies out of business. Now the Chinese companies want to put the Korean companies out of business. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll put it this way. I bought my mom a TCL because it had Roku, and I thought that would be very convenient for her.
That's a great recommendation.
Yep. I like them.
Thank you, Leo. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care. Oh, yeah, a little AC/DC. Love AC/DC. And, of course, it's a sad day for AC/DC fans. One of the founding brothers, Malcolm Young, passed away. Age of 64, very young. Looking younger all the time, right, Dick D?
Yeah.
But, boy, was he great. Was he great. What a great band. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's Dickie D, my friend, Dick D. Bartolo. You may know the name if you read Mad Magazine as a kid, and I lived on it. I knew the usual cast of idiots. He was one of them, the Mad Magazine's maddest writer for many decades, and he's still doing it, even though Mad's moving to L.A., I'm sorry to say. But that just means you can't haunt the office for the free coffee anymore.
That's exactly right. I'm taking as much free. I must have about 5,000 K-cups already. I'm taking about 100 a day.
But look at the back wall now. You've been building. Dennis has built you some shelves, and you've got basically a mini Mad Museum behind you.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. And John Figara, the editor, I had put this online, and he said, "Come into my office." He said, "I have a ton of stuff. I have no museum at home." He said, "Come here, bring a shopping bag."
You know what you've got to get? You showed me, and many years ago, I took my daughter for a tour on Madison Avenue.
Yeah, you and
Mad
Abby.
Magazine.
Yeah.
Abby loved it. She was a big Mad fan. And they have those big drawers where the original artwork for the covers, Mingo's covers, and I think you also had the fold-outs, right? Jaffe's fold-outs?
Yes, exactly. Now, when Warner took over, all that stuff went back to the artists.
Oh, well, that's good. At least they have it.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So
because those were beautiful to see those. Because I don't know if people know this, but those covers and the fold-outs are painted with acrylics or oil. I mean, they're paintings. They're beautiful.
Yeah, no computer-generated stuff.
They're gorgeous.
No. I mean, the artists, don't get paid a lot. So the great thing was they're not allowed to reprint it. Yes, but they can sell it.
Oh, I would buy an original.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And certainly Steven Spielberg and Lucas bought almost all their covers.
Yeah. See, I'm not in that ballpark. do they have anything cheap? So Dick joins us not to talk about Mad Magazine, although we often do because I'm such a fan, but to talk about a gadget or a gizmo. That's why we call him the Gizwiz. He's our gizmo wizard.
Yeah. Yes. So, Leo, I had a demo of this past week. Do you know about the Coravin gadget?
Oh, we own several.
Oh, okay.
I love them.
This woman and I said, "Oh my gosh, show me how this works," because I have a fan, a wino, a wine fan.
We don't call them winos.
No, a wine fan.
We call them drunks.
A wine fan,
Yes.
And she said, "Well, are you a wine connoisseur?" I said, "I know that the red wine is darker than the white." I said, "That's about the extent of it." Oh, so anyway, so she says, "All right, you're not going to know the taste since you're not a real wine connoisseur, but we opened this bottle a year ago."
Wow.
And we brought it here to the demonstration to show you that you take a Coravin.
You don't actually open the bottle. That's what's cool about it.
No, you don't open it.
You tap it with a little needle.
Exactly. And the needle goes in, and then they pour the wine through the needle.
Right.
And then when you take the needle out, the cork from its natural
seals right back up.
It closes the hole. And then she showed me that the bottle didn't spill. And then I said, this is going to embarrass me, but almost all the wine I have is a screw-off cork.
No, this will not be good for you. No.
No, Leo, they make
what?
Screw-on
cork
smart. Adapters.
Oh, I didn't know that. So they come with little nitrogen canisters. So the way it pumps the wine out is not with oxygen, which would oxidize the wine, but the inert gas goes in there.
I think she said it was argon gas.
Oh, yeah,
right?
not nitrogen, argon, which is an inert gas. And so that keeps the wine from in any way being modified. So if you have an expensive bottle, sometimes if you go to a fancy restaurant, they'll use a Coravin to tap it. I remember we went to Joël Robuchon in Vegas, and we were having sips of $2,000 bottles of wine. And, of course, they don't want to open that bottle.
Yeah.
So they just use the Coravin, and you pour a glass, and it's amazing. And so that's what we do at home with our $5 tipple. The $2 chuck.
Well, she told me. She said, I said, has this been around a while? She said it's been around for a fair amount of time.
Oh, yeah, we love our
mainly
Coravin.
At very high-end restaurants.
Right.
Where exactly that. They want to, or where people who have a vast wine collection and they don't want to open a $50 bottle of wine for 2 people, or you want to test a bunch of wines, you can pour a glass out of each, and then this will let it reseal itself.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a huge wine drinker, but when we bought our house, we got a wine cellar, and I thought, well, I got all this room, I should put wine in there. So we got wine, and we have Coravin, and that's what I'll do. I'll go in there and I'll tap a little bit. It's great. It's awesome. Lisa's a big Coravin fan because she likes a little glass of wine once in a while. So it's great. If you don't, that's the thing is if you're a drunk, you would open the bottle and just drink it all. But if you just want a little bit of wine, it's hard because once you open the bottle, it's going to go bad quickly. So I love it. So I'm with you on the Coravin. That's great.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea.
So
and
that bottle of wine we sent you for the holidays, we should get you something different. How about some hot chocolate?
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, no, I already tried the wine. I don't have a Coravin. I did a nail and a screwdriver and duct tape.
Yeah, just tape it right up.
Yeah, right.
So
you said
it starts at $199.
99, exactly.
Wow, that's not bad. I thought it was a little more expensive than that.
They've come out with like a plasticized model for.
Yes. So we don't have that.
Yeah, you have the
ridiculously expensive. Oh, and by the way, you then have to subscribe to the argon cartridges. And if you have, here's a little tip.
They're about $5.
They're not bad, but if you have a teenager who thinks it's hysterical to go press the button and watch the argon gas escape, it's going to cost you.
Oh,
for a while, Lisa was going, why are all these cartridges empty? Michael? Anyway, we got him to stop doing that. So,
okay.
Yeah. My friend Dick DeBartolo is at gizwiz.biz. Information about the Coravin and all the products he mentions, not just in this show, but World News Now and all the other places he makes appearances, is at that website, gizwiz.biz. Put the dot in between the whiz and the biz. So it's gizwiz.biz. You can also go to gizwiz.tv to watch his podcast. And for whatever reason, this is the last time you can get an autographed copy of Mad Magazine in the What the Heck Is It contest. So by all means, go to gizwiz.biz and click the What the Heck Is It. Identify a close-up of a gadget or a gizmo. And does that end at the end of December or November?
It's going to end the middle of December. December 17th, so I'll have enough time. The mailroom closes December 20th. So I'll be able to run in, grab magazines, and send them out to the winners.
You're cutting it right to the...
I'm cutting it close.
Yeah,
I'm cutting. I want to get everything I can get out of that building before they seal it up.
Good news. Thank you, Dickie D. Always a
okay,
pleasure.
buddy. Take care.
Okay. And we should say, because every time I mention this, people say, well, does this mean Dick's not writing for Mad? No, you're going to keep going.
Yes, they have come to New York and said, you've been in every issue for 51 years. Wow. We want you to continue.
As they should. It wouldn't be Mad Magazine without Mad's maddest writer, Dick DeBartolo. Thank you, Dickie D.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
Have a great Thanksgiving. Are you doing the your famous world
Pineapple Upside Down
You
cake?
are.
I am.
You took a couple of years off. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. No, I'm back.
And so's the Pineapple Upside Down cake.
And so's the one.
Thank you, Dick. Out of time, but thanks to Michael Cozio, our musical director, for playing such great music all day. Kim Schaffer for getting your phone calls on the air. I appreciate it. And I most of all want to thank you for listening. We'll be back next time with more great geek stuff. Don't forget the website, techguylabs.com. That's where you can find answers to all the questions, free and available. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great geek week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.